The more you can gift and the more that you can create that rapport within a company that you're selling to, the better.
Welcome back to another episode of the Revenue Reimagined podcast. While we have Dale here today, the real star of the show is that we have Katie Penner here, who is the head of sender relations at Sendoso, one of my all-time favorite human beings, not just because she knows how to gift, why to gift, and when to gift, because she's actually hashtag gifting in Dale's little thing here, because she's actually one of the kindest human beings I know. So we're going to talk gifting. We're going to talk kindness. We're going to talk all sorts of shit. Katie, thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. I was, we were talking offline, and I just got home late last night from a conference, and you guys are the only two people in the world I would do this for. So I adore
Is it both of us or is it just me?
It's just me.
Y'all can argue about that offline.
All right. We will. Don't you worry.
And we could talk about who's the better cook, because we know Adam has no idea how to cook ramen. So we can go down that path later on too.
I will say that Adam didn't really know how to cook ramen. That was true.
Man. I think we need like a real Revenue Reimagined cook-off.
Oh,
because I promise you I will cook circles around you. But let's go. All right. We're not here to talk cooking. Come on, Dale. Stay on task.
Awesome. Katie, so we appreciate you joining. We know Sendoso is all about gifting. And one of the things that you've done really well is bringing gifting to another level. What are, like, when you think about your role within Sendoso, like, what drove you towards like this gifting czar? We'll call you the gifting czar. Like what drove you towards this place? Because it's kind of like in this marketing sales hybrid role. Like what brought you towards that role?
Yeah, so I think it's a combination of things, right? I think on a human level, kind of where I fit in very well to Sendoso is an emotional response brand, right? That's what we're all about generating. And I take business very personally, which I think you are constantly told not to do. But I think, right, the way to stand out in today's environment is to really care about the human on the receiving end of your outreach and everything that you do. And so that's why I was so drawn to gifting and the art of it, because there's definitely a very wrong way to do it where you can come off bribey and kind of icky. And then there's this really beautiful way to do it where you're able to form these like real authentic connections that supersede business and our daily roles. And so I've become very passionate about that. And, the kind of second layer to that question is, how did I end up in this kind of sales X marketing role? And that comes down to experience, right? So I was raised in sales. My upbringing, as I like to call it, was definitely sales. Fell in love with the art of sales and, statistics and, kind of modeled different things based on the research that I was doing. And I actually carried those teachings into marketing, which I'm learning more and more that sales and marketing are so similar. And that if we, kind of combine those skill sets, that's when we see the best results. So that's why this kind of middle ground has really worked out for me.
I think you touched on a couple things, right? Like sales and marketing are incredibly intertwined. And in a lot of orgs, as intertwined as they should be, they're still extremely, extremely segmented, right? So tying that to gifting, like there's several different philosophies on gifting that I've seen out there. And I'm curious to dig deeper into Katie's philosophy on gifting. You have the marketing folks who, some of which are like, oh, gift top of funnel, send a gift to book a meeting. Like, oh, here, I'll give you a $25 Starbucks gift card if you take a demo with me. You could tell by my tone of voice, my thoughts on that type of gifting. Or if you complete a demo, you have the sales folks who are like, oh, you send it every time after you do a demo. You have other, revenue leaders who talk about responsible and timely gifting. When is the right time to send a gift, and how do you make it personalized and relevant so it's not a Starbucks gift card or a some swag that no one fucking wants?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. So, Hockey Stack recently ran a report on the effectiveness of gifting, and we actually did not have our hands in this at all. It was kind of,
Shameless plug for Amir and team.
yes, but
We
it was
love
kind
them.
of we do, but it was nerve wracking, right? Because like they're like, hey, we're gonna go look into all of our customers' data as far as like where gifting is most effective. Is it effective? And we essentially had to trust that our product worked. And what they found,
Scary.
yeah, and what they found was that gifting doubles win rates, 6x's second call rates, and closes deals 29% faster. So, based on those statistics and what was found in that report, we know that gifting works top of funnel. Gifting works to accelerate deals, helps close deals faster. It can also help to, expand your customer base and, to tell your current customers that you appreciate them, which will help, lead to more renewals and upsells and things like that. But it all comes down to the intentionality behind it, right? So you can't send that bullshit $15 Starbucks e-gift like you mentioned, right? That's not where we're going to be the most effective. What's going to be the most effective is having that first call with somebody and asking, instead of rambling on about the weather, which so many sales reps are guilty about, ask them what they're doing this weekend. That simple change in a question can help you to understand who someone is outside of their 9 to 5, who they are in their 5 to 9. Shout out to Alice for
I was
that.
going to say, we're bringing Alice into play here.
We are bringing Alice. Shout out to the acquisition. But, that 5 to 9, who are you in your outside of work life? And that gives me some intel so that I can go to our Amazon integration, send you something that's like highly curated for you. And as a result, we all of a sudden have way more rapport. We're connecting on a human level. It's just little changes to your sales process or the questions that you're asking your prospects that can lead to this massive increase in that rapport. So,
It's so accurate, right? That we see people all the time who are, oh, it's raining here. Oh, hey, Dale, I see you live in Florida. How long have you lived there? Like, I love the what are you doing this weekend? Because as you get to that, now the gift is and I'm going to spitball here, but you mentioned that you're, going to whatever golf tournament, here's a little something to help you improve your swing, whatever it happens to be.
right.
Things like that show that you hear me, you're trying to know me, you're trying to understand me, and it's thoughtful, and it doesn't come with to learn your swing and look forward to talking to you about the contract next week. I love it. Dale,
Yeah.
what do I do on the weekend that you're going to send me gifts? No, I'm kidding.
Katie, I was talking to a friend of mine just this past weekend, and he's like a financial planner, financial advisor. And when we were driving up to Tampa, one of the things that he was thinking about was like he wants to do more gifting, but they're a smaller organization. It's like one or two guys in a shop. And he's like, and he knows that we write content all about Sendoso, and we're big Sendoso fans. But he said, how do I get involved in Sendoso? So help the audience understand like where, from a Sendoso perspective, like what's the size of the company? How can they get involved? What's the best way to start working with like a gifting company? Because he said like, it takes me hours and hours and hours to think about it. I'm not good at it. So I'm part of the Cooper Creek, like wine, Cooper's Hawk wine bottle thing. Like I just give out wine bottles, which seems kind of lame, but,
It's always good when you give a wine bottle to an alcoholic too. I say that as someone who made that mistake very early in my career. Did not go over well, to be clear.
Yeah, wine bottles can be iffy, but that's a great question. So I think, it's worth addressing that gifting platforms used to be pretty exclusive to, mid-market and enterprise businesses based on purely the cost of the platforms, right? It was pretty expensive. And we moved to a PLG model, and we got a bunch of interest from SMBs or even independent contractors that, run their own businesses. And we decided to create a kind of starter plan to make gifting more accessible for businesses of all sizes or businesses that are just getting started. So now Sendoso, which was once expensive and exclusive, is now, we have a price point for everyone and we're a lot more inclusive. And, we think that based on what we can do for companies, that everyone should have access to that. And so it's really exciting to, we're starting to sell and see more SMB deals, and, how that can kind of propel these small businesses to, gain more customers quicker. So it's really
Small
exciting.
businesses may become big businesses.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
Just
hope.
saying.
Right? That's the hope. And it all comes down to the strategy, right? And I think it's so important to call out that, like, Sendoso, and this is a plug moment, but I do think it's so important when it comes to the topic of gifting. What differentiates Sendoso comes down to three things. It's innovation, scale, and expertise. And I want to put a bottom, I want to highlight that last word is the expertise factor. We hear from more and more people who are switching over to Sendoso from competitors that, cool, they got a gifting platform, but then they were never told how to gift. And so the default at that point is, hey, in exchange for your time, we'll send you X. And Sendoso teaches you how to not do this in a bribey way where you can see these like exponential results. And I think that that's really something that sets us apart.
I think it's interesting, right? Because what you just said about a non-bribey way, and there's so many folks who gift wrong, where it does feel so ick and gross, and like I'm trying to bribe you, and it's like, oh, it's time for the contract to be signed. Let me send you a bottle of bourbon. And listen, I love me a bottle of bourbon, but it's not going to influence me at all. When you talk about expertise, break it down for me a little more. Like, who should we be gifting to? Is it, the signer? Is it the champion? Is it, the person who opens up, shameless plug to Aligned, the Aligned room that you don't know is part of the buying process and suddenly becomes part of the buying process? Like, how do you determine who to gift to? And then piggyback, I want to talk about how to like automate that a little bit.
Yeah. So as far as like who to gift to, right? I always like to gift to kind of everyone that touches the deal in whether it's a large way or a small way. And I think that what people think, about gifting is that it's expensive and it has to be these like extravagant gifts, like a bottle of bourbon. When actually, with our largest, data set, we see that the most effective gifts are $50 or below. I think about some
Interesting.
of the gifts that I've sent. I recently sent a CRO. His name is John McKillop. He's the CRO at Open Prize. Shout out to him. Love him. He'd mentioned that him and his wife were going to see Taylor Swift in a few months, right? Amazing. So I asked, of course, if he had any friendship bracelets, if they'd made the little bracelets to trade at the concert. They hadn't yet. So I went on Amazon, sent him a $15 friendship bracelet kit, and now every time we're on a call, he brings that up, right? And so it's sending these thoughtful, gifts to every single person throughout is going to help, kind of build up that championing throughout the org. So I always think it's nice. And again, it doesn't need to be expensive, but the more you can gift and the more that you can create that rapport within a company that you're selling to, the better.
So what I'm hearing through that thread is kind of like in the sales process anyways, more active listening. So like in the sales process, we're listening, or in the conversations, we're listening for buy signs on, price, on feature functionality, et cetera, but we're not listening for the personalized side of it. Like when you're first jumping on, instead of talking about the weather, like, what kind of sports teams do you like? Do you like football? Like having those conversations and then being able to say, this little thing may be worth it. Now, the second part, one of the things I think a lot of people struggle with, at least I did when I was originally starting to gift back in the day when I was at Oracle, because they would always want you to ship and give like all the Oracle branded golf balls and all that kind of stuff. But it was always hard to try to find where to ship them. And so one of the big things we get pushback on when we talk about gifting in organizations is like, I don't know, are people in the office? How do I get their address, et cetera, et cetera. So, talk to the audience a little bit about like debunking this myth on shipping.
Yeah, of course. So Sendoso has an address confirmation feature. So essentially, you're able to send a link. They can fill out their address in a very secure environment, and then they get to shipped directly to them. So we're able to kind of get around that. Now, another strategy, right? If you want to surprise someone with something on their doorstep, and I think that this is really interesting. So one of our customers, Gong, is very successful with their gifting campaigns. And what they do is they actually go to white pages. They find the addresses for their prospects. They put that into Sendoso and ship it directly to the houses, the addresses that they find on white pages. And they're able to surprise. So there's kind of two different avenues. I think, of course, the white pages thing is kind of hit or miss. Adam has a strong feeling to this.
I find it so ick. Like I'll give you a non-Sendoso example, but like no secret, like we were involved in a horrible car crash a while ago, and like a lot of people want to do a lot of things, and like someone on LinkedIn very kindly and nicely sent something to Zachary that showed up at my door, but like how did you get my, like I was icked that this person who I've never met like took the time to like track down my address. Like little weird, right? I love what and listen, we use Sendoso a lot. And even if I know the address, I always send it in a link asking the person to put in their address, because I don't want to make someone feel ick that I know your address. Like, I don't know. I don't even send Dale shit without asking him to like give his address over and over and over again. Or when I send Dale shit, it just doesn't show up because I didn't send it through Sendoso. But whole separate conversation.
Yeah, we do have one of those issues.
Dale, can I use our Sendoso budget to send you your birthday present? That would be a little awkward, right?
Okay, just don't tell him. But no, I think, you're absolutely right. Right. And I think that Gong kind of does that play later on in the sales cycle when the rapport has been built, et cetera. But you're right. Address confirmation is a way, again, to avoid that ick where, these prospects are essentially opting in. Sendoso is a recognizable brand. They know that it's secure. No one's going to see their address. So there's a comfortability factor there, which, works in our favor, which is great.
People buy from people. That's why companies who invest in meaningful connections win. The best part? Gifting doesn't have to be expensive to drive results, just thoughtful. Sendoso's intelligent gifting platform is designed to boost personalized engagement throughout the entire sales process. Trust me, I led sales for a Sendoso competitor, and I could tell you no one does gifting better than Sendoso. If you're looking for a proven way to win and retain more customers, visit sendoso.com.
And I think you may get away from some governance things as well. Like there's some people that just can't accept gifts. So I think that becomes, depending on where they're working, what kinds of things they're working on.
Well, and there's really great strategies for that as well. So if you're selling into, a restricted kind of, government, medical, whatever it is, there's always, charity e-gift options that you can add as, an alternative to maybe the bottle of wine that you're offering them, right? And that also helps when you're maybe selling to someone who doesn't drink alcohol. And, so there's a lot of different kind of capabilities that Sendoso has that accounts for those kinds of experiences as well. So.
And it's the way you said experiences. Like, I love that. Let's shift gears a little bit. So when you look at Sendoso, you've had a couple different roles. And I say that in a good way, but like, what's been your favorite and why?
Oh, gosh, what a good question. I would have
See,
to
Dale,
say,
I ask good questions.
It was only after the 3 or 4 good questions I already asked. So I have to warm you
we're
up.
18 minutes in. I need a fucking win somehow.
At this point, you guys should just use your Sendoso budget to compete for my love. And then I
like it.
No, just kidding. But
thoughtful
honestly,
gifting.
Yeah, honestly, I would say that right now is my favorite. So this head of sender relations role, which yes, that is my official title. This is kind of the culmination of everything that I have done prior in one role, which sounds insane. But right now I am managing 3 BDRs, who act as a much larger team, I am able to experiment with clay and scaled outbound that I believe we've made personalized, which is kind of contradictory, but I think that we've nailed it. I'm also able to talk to our customers a lot and to, educate them on how to do gifting the right way. And, I kind of have my toes in the marketing pool, and I get to do fun things like the trading card activation at Inbound next week. So I have all of these kind of outlets where I get to live my passion, which, again, I'm so passionate and emotional about the work that I do at Sendoso that as a result, all these kind of outlets are really fun. And I love my role right now.
I mean, you do have an orange lava lamp behind you. I don't think
do.
I've seen a lava lamp since I was like 4, and I'm assuming the orange is very much Sendoso. I used to love lava lamps. Adam drinks Evan. I drink Evan. Who is Evan? What is
Evan Williams
or does
bourbon.
Dale just not know how to spell?
Evan Williams bourbon.
Oh,
You just
no.
can't.
No, I do not. Yeah. We're having way too much fun with the tags under the names here, but I digress.
It changes like every 2 seconds. I love it so much.
He needs to figure out something to do.
So Katie,
yeah, I saw this lava lamp in a store and it was orange, and I had to have.
I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So we talk about most people think about gifting in top of funnel. Let's talk about gifting post sale. Like, how does CS use gifting in a way to either, save potential churn, increase on expansion, or just thank customers for referrals and references and stuff like that? Like, how is it used on post sale?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So kind of the first motion that we see there is onboarding. So we've all onboarded a tool and not wanted to watch the videos or go do the things because we're all incredibly busy, right? And so what I see most successful for onboarding is sending, this is where like that coffee e-gift or the lunch e-gift can come in. Hey, let's do your lunch and learn kind of situation, go get onboarded and have lunch on me during, right? Or, hey, onboarding can be really boring. Enjoy a coffee on me to keep you awake while you go set these things up, right? So that can be kind of great motivation to kind of, call it out. Onboarding isn't the most fun thing, but hey, we're here for you. We'll make it a little more fun with some coffee or some lunch, right? So that can be a great kind of step into the relationship as and help you start building that rapport with people. And then when it comes to appreciation, right, I think like CX orgs as a whole should come up with like one-to-many campaigns semi-regularly to simply say thank you. Hey, it's really sweet partnering with you, having you as a customer. Here's some cookies on us, right? Just as like little random appreciation drops, those go a long way. And then when it comes to renewals, right? I don't think that gifting should only happen at time of renewal. You can smell that from a mile away, right? So I think it's really important to consistently check on your customers and make sure that they're happy. And you can do that with a one-to-many email campaign. Like, hey, we'd love to check in on you and the team, talk about anything that you may be experiencing. I think that can really help when it comes to that renewal, just that constant support and appreciation, which is so important today as retention is a main goal for a lot of revenue teams.
I want to give a interesting example of this. So we had a customer that we had just signed up and we were just onboarding, and they on the onboarding side, we had decided just to send them some cookies from Sendoso. The thing we didn't realize is that they were having a board meeting like that week, and so they took the cookies into the board meeting, and so it made the board meeting, fly through a bit nicer through the process. So those are just little things like, and you don't realize the serendipity side of things. Like, even if you're gifting, there could be additional serendipity pieces that are happening that you don't really realize.
Right. Well, and I think it all comes down to, and again, we talked about this in the sales cycle, but this can apply during the customer life cycle as well, right? It's just those slight changes in questions on those, touch base calls. Instead of the weather, let's ask them what they're doing this weekend, right? Let's ask about something on the wall behind them to get some more intel so that we can do more thoughtful touch points, right? And so I think it just applies to every single stage and every role where you can leverage gifting.
If you
I
want
think
Katie's
Dale's
time, send her a
favorite
lava
new-
lamp.
Yes.
I'll take all the
Um,
lava lamps. That'd be cool.
I think Dale's favorite new word is serendipity. I feel like I hear that word so much now.
So guess who's going to be saying that next, Adam?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to be saying that word because I don't want to say anything that you say. But I may or may not be sending you some serendipity shit through Sendoso. I digress. So we talked about gifting top of funnel. We talked about gifting bottom of funnel. How can you automate it? And can you automate it, Katie? Because I think there's a lot of reps who, for whatever the reason, aren't going to think to like, oh, now's the time to send a gift, or do we send when do I send a gift? Are there ways based on, call it, whether it's HubSpot or Salesforce, like, are there triggers that could give you a pop-up that's like, now is the time to send a gift, and here's the gift you should send?
Well, I'm so glad that you asked that question. Product may be working on something like that may come out very soon. But yes, Sendoso has a ton of automations, right, and integrations that you can leverage. A quick plug to a website that me and Mary Metton actually put together. If you go to sendoso.com/playbooks, you will see playbooks for every single integration partner that we have. So we're talking Salesforce, we're talking HubSpot, we're talking Eloqua, Marketo, all of the different tools, and the different kind of triggers that those integrations will, account for. So let's use Salesforce as it's the most universal, kind of tool. So as a deal moves from, stage 0 to maybe, meeting set to stage 1, which, for us is meeting accepted by AE, we can have a gift trigger at that point. So maybe it's cookies. Hey, it was sweet meeting you. Excited to continue the chats about how Sendoso can help company, right? So there are examples about how you can leverage these automations through our integration partners. But yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? Like as a sales rep, you have so much going on. You have so many relationships to manage that onboarding a new tool can be hard. Even if it is a gifting platform where you can send gifts, life gets busy and I understand that. And so as a marketer, buying Sendoso, right, setting up these automations is going to ensure that you have those meaningful touch points going out and you don't have to rely on AEs to go and do that every single time. Now, I do think that, when AEs have the capability of sending something, personalized through Amazon, that is going to hold the most weight. But there are certain situations, maybe once the deal goes to finance and you're waiting on a signature, right? Sending something with collateral that points back to the ROI, right? Like that's a gift that I think should be triggered. But there's different kind of moments for that automated action and different moments where I think that a more personalized gift strike the hardest. And so that, again, going back to that expertise piece, that is the kind of insight that we can provide customers.
I love it.
I love that.
Do you? Or are you just copying me?
No, just copying you.
Okay. Well, at least we're honest about it. We like to have a little bit of fun here. All right. As we wrap up, we've learned a ton of cool shit about gifting, when to gift, how to gift, what to gift, how to think about gifting. Let's go into some rapid fire. Here's the rules: 10 words or less, no more. Otherwise, Dale has a gong that comes out and bops you in the head through the screen.
Okay, well, I'm probably going to get bonked a lot. So,
if you weren't in tech, what profession would you be in?
bartending.
That's what you'd want to do? Bartend?
I often,
I love it.
I think people in like tech, SaaS, this like crazy fast world, this is over 10 minutes, but I often daydream about like just a,
Turn off.
kind of simple job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd go
Sure.
bartend for a little bit.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Adam does it every day, so he turns off every day. So. What's the first app you check when you wake up?
I drink every day because I work with Dale.
What'd you ask, Dale? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, over the annoyanceness of Mr. J. What's the first app you check when you wake up in the morning?
LinkedIn. I'm addicted.
Dale can only call me Mr. J from now on. Katie, early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
How late?
I mean, it's late for me, like 11, 12.
Yeah, I'm
I'm a
rolling
mom.
over.
What's the What's the most used emoji in your work chats?
Ooh, orange heart.
Favorite guilty pleasure snack?
Cheese.
It's not
Lots
guilt.
of it. Like
That's
lots
not
of it. Like the
guilty.
amount makes it guilty. I'm
I love.
definitely
Listen, I love a good cheese. I'm in.
Final one as we wrap up. Dream vacation destination.
Ooh, Bali. Want to go so bad. Take me.
Nice.
Someone buy me a trip to Bali and I'll demo any software.
That's a thoughtful gift. A gift certificate for a trip to Bali.
Far too
Katie,
expensive. Don't do that.
Right? Thank you so much for joining. As I said when we started, one of my all-time favorite humans, whether it's chatting podcast or just chatting in general, it's always good to spend some time with you. Go check out Katie on LinkedIn. Go check out sendoso.com. It is the only way we gift at RR. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are delightful. As
Thanks,
always.
Katie.